Now, before we start using ImageMagick for anything, I'm not going to be teaching you how to install it on your local machine. I'm assuming that every website you're going to be doing eventually will end up on a remote server. And majority of the web servers have ImageMagick installed. I'm talking about Linux web servers, not Windows web servers, because obviously for PHP technology, you're most likely to be using a Linux server. But you would have to check with your hosting provider whether ImageMagick is installed on your server. If it's not, ask them, perhaps they wouldn't mind to install it for you. But assuming you have ImageMagick installed, if we go to our functions.php file, we've got ImageMagick function here called convert image. This is a custom created function which takes several parameters. From, which is the name of the file plus the path actually to the file, then to, which is where do you want to save it, path, and a new file name if you were renaming this file. Then what job you want to do with this specific file, the new dimension of the width, and the new height if you are also cropping the image. Now what it does, first of all, it checks whether file which you're passing through the from parameter exists. If it does, then it creates the first variable which is called convert path, which is the first word which is used in a conversion, and it will be simply convert. It will tell ImageMagick to start converting the image. Then we have comments variable which stays blank to start with. Then we have image info variable to which we assign a function get image size, and we put as a parameter our image stored inside of the from parameter. Okay, then we're retrieving the original width of the image, which we are using image info and the 0, which because get image size creates an array, and a zero element of our newly created array is the width. Then we have original height, and the same thing. This time we're going to be getting the first item of our array, which will be the height of the image. Then we have our switch statement, and there are two different cases. The first one is for resizing. First, we are checking if the width is larger than height. Then obviously we're talking about horizontal image. So the comment, as you can see, we've initiated this variable here. We're adding to this comment variable hyphen resize, and then we pass the new width of this variable, again populated through the parameter. Otherwise, if we're talking about the vertical image, then we're putting resize x new width, which means because how it works actually in ImageMagick, if I just type it here, ImageMagick takes, for the resize one, it takes width time height. So obviously if our new image is vertical, then we will still be passing the width of the new image, because whatever parameter, whatever value we're gonna send through this fourth parameter will be the largest edge of the image. So whether it's horizontal or vertical, the largest side of the image will be defined by this specific parameter. So that's how we're doing this here. Then we've got our Resize and Crop, which is slightly more complex. In other words, it resizes first to the relevant size. Let's say if we define the new size for the largest edge of the image to be, let's say, 100 pixels, which is what we're going to be using actually. Then it first resizes this depending on whether it's horizontal or vertical to 100 pixels, and then also crops the area which is actually over the one which we want to get from it. So basically that's what this function does. Then we've got our convert variable, to which we first assign our convert path, which, as you may remember, is convert, then space, then we have from image, then space, then our commands, which have been created here depending on the width, height, and so on, and the case of our job, and eventually to what file we want to save it, where do we want to save it, and how we want to name it. And then eventually we use the exec function to pass in this convert parameter to process the entire job. So that's basically all about this ImageMagick function. If we go back to our images file, and now if upload has been successful, we know that the image is already on the server inside of the photos folder. So what we want to do now is we want to create thumbnail image. So we start with convert image function, which we've just saw. And what we will be passing as a first parameter is from. So what we want to the new image to be created from. We want this to be created from the image which we've just uploaded. So copy this entire root path with the new image name. Then comma. Actually, let's put on a new line. Actually, we can put the whole thing on a separate lines to make it looking a little bit better. We want to save it as a second parameter is 2. So we want to save it to path thumb. We want to save the thumbnail to the thumb folder. And then directory separator and the name. Next parameter will be the job. And in this case, we want the job to be 2 because we want to resize and crop the image. And we also want to pass the width, so it's thumb width. You remember this, all these constants have been created inside of the config.php file. You can obviously change the width and height depending on whatever is going to be the most suitable, whatever will be the most suitable values for your own application. And obviously height because we are cropping as well, so thumb height. Okay, so all these parameters have been passed. So we already converting the image by creating a thumbnail. The original image stays untouched. And then if we copy the whole thing, just to save us a little bit of time, we're going to resize the image. Okay, so resize the image will be taking again the original image which we've uploaded, and it will overwrite it. So basically the same 2 elements. So we take the original image, once has been converted, it's going to overwrite the existing one. The job will be 1. As you remember, the case 1 is for resizing only, and we only need to pass the width. But we don't want the thumb width. We want to pass here the large width constant. Okay, so these 2 functions should do the job. Now, if you have ImageMagick installed on your server and it works correctly, it should do the trick. Let's give it a try. I'm going to remove the file which we've uploaded recently. Let's delete it. Okay, let's go to our browser and upload another file. Let's call it new file. Browse for file. It's going to be basically the same image. Open and upload. Okay, now that it's been uploaded, let's go back to our text editor. If I refresh, reload the folder, as you can see, the original file has been, the file has been uploaded to the photos directory. And if I move it slightly to the left, as you can see, the dimensions are as we've specified. 600 is the largest edge of the image, so it's been resized. Now if I go to the thumb folder and reload it as well, the thumbnail has also been created and uploaded to the right folder. We've got 100 by 66. That was exactly what I've defined for width and height of the image. Now one thing here, because we are resizing all of them to the same dimensions, because we don't want obviously horizontal images and vertical images to mess up our layout, even if the image is vertical, it will still crop to the horizontal one. So all our images as a thumbnail preview will have the horizontal layout. When we previewing them by clicking on them, as you saw on our first video, they will show the image in whatever layout they are actually created. So if it's vertical, it's going to be vertical. If it's horizontal, it's going to be horizontal. So that's everything about cropping and resizing the images with ImageMagick. Now we go into the next video where we actually going to add the information about the image together with the caption into our database.